What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Rats Report. It is time to talk about NBA standings predictions. I will be doing it for both the Eastern and Western Conference. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Alrighty, so let's start with the Eastern Conference here. We're going to start with the 15th spot here, and I have to go with the Brooklyn Nets. They drafted about 4 or 5 rookies. They don't plan on winning anytime soon, and this is a no-brainer. Moving on to the 14th spot here, a lot of people are going to put the Washington Wizards. Me personally, I'm actually going to put the Charlotte Hornets. I have been a big believer of Charlotte Hornets and waiting for them to take the next leap, which is the play-in tournament for them. But injuries to LaMelo Ball just have hampered this team. And just overall, this team just does not seem serious whatsoever. Now, Con Knippel is a nice addition, but I need to see it first with this team. I've had enough of seeing them on paper. They look great, but it just never comes together. So at the 14th spot, I'm putting the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo needs to get healthy. Him and Brandon Miller are going to be very, very interesting as well. I don't necessarily think they're the best fit together. They both kind of need the ball, even though LaMelo can kind of play off the ball here. But for the 14th spot, I got the Hornets. Now, moving on to the 13th spot here, I can't justify putting the Washington Wizards any higher. I actually do believe Washington Wizards are a very fascinating team for the simple reason that they're very different from the past. Before they had Jordan Poole, who wasn't really serious, who actually went on. There was a clip of him, I believe it was last season or his first season with the Wizards, where he was quoted as saying in a huddle, "This is my team." Now, he's obviously no longer there. They traded him for CJ McCollum. They also have Chris Middleton. Nice group of veterans that can really help lead the younger players. Alex Sarr looked absolutely amazing in the Summer League. And Bilal Coulibaly, even though he did not look good in the Euro tournament, I will say those are just tournaments that should not be taken seriously. We've seen players absolutely perform outright amazing, and then when it comes to the NBA season, they don't do so well. But overall, the Wizards got them finishing 13th. Can't really put them any higher than that. 12th spot here, we're going to put the Chicago Bulls are going to be Nikola Vucevic's last season here. They have to find a trading partner. They went from asking for 2 first-round picks to even asking for one, and they seem to get nothing in return for him right now. But maybe in an expiring contract, it makes more sense where they can maybe potentially take on salary and acquire a first-round pick. But for now, Kobe White's going to do his thing. Patrick Williams, they're going to find someone to take on his contract as well, which I don't think that anyone will. So we'll see how that team does. They're a decent team, nothing special, to be honest. 11th place team here. Now, I'm tempted to go between two teams here. You could even argue three teams, the 76ers, Miami, or potentially even Boston. You know what? As a Raptors fan, there's absolutely nothing worse than having terrible center rotations. Believe me when I say this. The Raptors were in Tampa and they had downright absolutely terrible center rotation, which just hurt them overall. And we know how those seasons went. Well, at least that one season went in Tampa, and it wasn't really great. So I'm going to put the Boston Celtics here. Center rotations is downright horrible. Obviously, they lost Kristaps, or I shouldn't say they lost him. They traded him. They traded Drew Holiday, and they got Derek White, which is nice. Jalen Brown is nice, but again, their center rotation isn't good. They don't have a lot of depth. We know Jason Tatum is out, and they probably might just start tanking towards the second half of the season. I got them finishing 11th. Moving on to the 10th spot here. I got the Miami Heat. You know what? Miami Heat, obviously, they lost Jimmy Butler. They haven't really recovered since. Yeah, they got Andrew Wiggins. I mean, Terry Rozier, who knows what's going on with him? They re-signed Davion Mitchell, which is nice. And they're going to be one of those teams that doesn't have a ton of talent, but they're going to grind out a lot of wins. And I just don't see them finishing higher than 10th or ninth place maximum. They're going to be a playing team as they always have been. Ninth position here. I'm going to go with the Raptors. You know what? As a Raptors fan, I'm not going to deny there's a lot of roster questions I do have about this team. They're not super talented offensively. They're not super talented defensively. They're kind of doing this thing where they have a bunch of good defenders, I can't even say a bunch. I mean, let's be honest. Brandon Ingram is a great scorer. Scotty Barnes needs to step it up. He obviously needs to score, a lot. And there's going to be a lot of offensive load for him to carry. RJ Barrett, what's he going to look like as a third string? Is his stats going to dip a lot? And I just have a lot of questions with this team. Jakob Poeltl is nice, but if he goes down more than anyone, the center rotation is just downright horrible. Mamu Kemishwali is doing great again. Eurobasket, national, when they're playing for the countries, it's so different than when they actually perform in the NBA. And there's a reason why the Raptors got Mamu Kemishwali for pretty cheap. Again, Brandon Ingram's going to miss a lot of games, so I don't anticipate the Raptors are going to do too well here. But I got him finishing ninth. A team you could questionably put maybe even a few spots lower, the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid. A lot of questions surrounding his knee issues. Medical staff is apparently not diagnosed it properly, so he may need to get a surgery done. We don't know what's going on with him. Paul George is in his Carmelo Anthony era. No disrespect to Carmelo, but we saw that decline, and we're already have been seeing decline from Paul George. Let's be very straightforward and honest. But this is kind of he's more focused on his podcast. He's gonna miss 30, 40 games, whatever he's gonna miss, but he's really on the decline. You can tell he's not taking basketball very, very seriously. He's got his money. He's happy. The Clippers made a brilliant move by not re-signing him. And even with those two guys out, I will say Jared McCain is going to be really nice. I do really also am a huge, huge Tyrese Maxey fan. I think he's going to do great as well there. So I got the Philadelphia 76ers finishing eighth. The seventh place team here. Now, this is a little bit tricky here. You know what? I am going to go. I'm not gonna do this. It might be a little bit controversial. I'm not gonna do it. I'm actually gonna put the Milwaukee Bucks here. Now you could put the Indiana Pacers here because Tyrese is out for the season. They lost Miles Turner, but overall, just I think with someone like Milwaukee, you got Giannis, man. I mean, you got Giannis, or sorry, excuse me, Indiana. You still got Pascal there. You got Andrew Nemhard, which we'll get to in just a moment. But the reason I got Milwaukee here is yes, they lost Damian Lillard, but overall, I do think that Miles Turner is a much better player than Brook Lopez. And look, it's going to be one of those seasons where Giannis is going to average like 33, and he's going to have Gary Trent Jr., all the shooters just around him hitting a lot of 3-point shots, which I don't doubt they will. Again, I can't doubt Giannis, man. He's going to be a top three, top four player again, probably finish third or fourth in MVP race here, but he's going to will the Milwaukee Bucks to a lot of wins. But I do think they're going to finish around the 6th, 7th spot here. Sixth spot here. I got the Indiana Pacers. A lot of people have the Indiana Pacers falling, and I get it. I get it. It's easy to react because Tyrese Halliburton was their best player, and he's obviously out for the season. They lost obviously Miles Turner. Their center rotation isn't as strong, but honestly, Miles Turner did not perform all that well in the playoffs. Now, obviously, regular season it helps a lot, but overall, they're relying on Isaiah Jackson, who's coming back from a major injury. They also got G Huff, which I honestly really, really like. I think it's one of the more underrated moves. Like in a bigger sample size, he's just performed really well. And he can shoot the 3-point ball, which is something they need in their offense. And look, Andrew Nemhard's going to have an MIP season, right? He's probably going to average 18, 19 points a game, 5 assists, 5, 6 assists, a steal and a half a game. That's the kind of season he'll have. And look, they still got Pascal. Bennedict Mathurin is going to have a bigger role, whether that's a good or bad thing. Yeah, I mean, I think that's quite obvious. But at least offensively, he'll help him a lot. Fifth place here. This is tough. This is really hard. Now it's getting a little bit more challenging. I'm gonna have to put the Atlanta Hawks here. They look great on paper. Jalen Johnson's returning. Zachary Risache should improve. Kristaps Porzingis is a nice addition, but he's still Kristaps Porzingis that is injury prone. He's gonna play 45, 55 games next season. Onyeka Okongwu, I'm excited to see how he does. But overall, I think the Atlanta Hawks will do a good job. And let's not forget, Dyson Daniel did have a very, very good first season with the Atlanta Hawks. I expect him to continue to build on that. Atlanta Hawks just made some really under the radar moves this offseason. I really like what they did. And I mean, for all the hate that Trae Young gets, he's still a spectacular offensive player. So I really do believe in him. And I think the Atlanta Hawks are going to have a very successful season. Moving on to the 4th spot here. Now, this is where it gets challenging. Like, you want to put Orlando obviously high, but are they better than Detroit, or is Detroit going to be, creep into the top 3? You know what? I'm gonna go Pistons here just for the reason that I think Orlando's just overall should be better. Now, not to undermine what the Pistons accomplished last season. And yeah, they lost Malik Beasley or whatever's going on with him off the court issues. But overall, they didn't have Jaden Ivey. I don't like that fit with Cade Cunningham, if you ask me. But I still believe the Pistons will be a good team. They acquired Duncan Robinson from the Miami Heat, so that's a nice addition, to replace Malik Beasley. I like what they're building there, man. They're a decent, they're a really good young team, and they're obviously a few moves away from winning the championship. But hey, if they can continue to build on last season, they're gonna have a heck of a season. Third place here, you almost have to put the Orlando Magic here for the simple reason that you know what they should have a lot of much healthier roster going into next season. Franz was injured at a point. Paulo was injured at a point. They both took turns, and obviously Jalen Suggs was out for the season. He will help the defense, but Desmond Bane is just such a spectacular addition to the Magic roster. They needed floor spacing, and he's going to absolutely help them. not in the floor space, not only in the floor spacing department, but also just to the fact that he can score as well, which is something they desperately need help with. All right, number two here. I feel like you have to put the Knicks here, don't you? Like, I mean, who else are you putting? You're not putting Cleveland. Cleveland is a spectacular regular season team. The Knicks are going to do their thing, man. They're going to do their thing. Jalen Brunson's going to do his thing. Cat's a great regular season player, so I anticipate they'll have a great regular season, to be honest. And there should be more chemistry between Mikhail and OG, Cat, and Jalen Brunson as well. So it'll be fun for the Knicks, at least during the regular season. Number one here, no doubt, Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, a really good regular season team, not a great playoff team, but again, they got their pieces. They're going to keep their roster together. This is what my Eastern standings look like. Let's move on to the Western Conference. All right, starting from the bottom, this is not easy, guys. This is not easy. This is such a difficult conference to predict. Um, you almost have to go. It's almost crazy to say it has to be Utah Jazz here, right? Like Utah Jazz are just they're terrible. They're trying to rebuild, and look, the Utah Jazz are going to be the Utah Jazz. They're not going to win a ton of games here. This is 14th spot here. Who do I put here? Again, I haven't really pre-decided this, guys. I'm just kind of going off of my gut feeling here. Uh, the Sacramento Kings are such a mess. Let's just keep it a buck. Yes, it's a you know what? Who's a bigger mess? I'm actually going to put the Pelicans here. I changed my mind. Pelicans are a mess. CJ McCollum, for as bad as he was in the Pelicans roster, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't really fitting into what they were doing. They added Jordan Poole. I don't understand what they're doing there, but that's not a good addition. Zion's going to be Zion. He's going to play 50 games. If he's healthy, maybe he has a very nice season where he plays 65, 70 games, But overall, that roster is just a mess. Feel like they need to blow it up. They're not going to do much. Personally, again, no offense, Pelicans fans, but I got them finishing there. 13th spot here. I got the Sacramento Kings. A lot of people gave me a lot of criticism last season when I did the NBA standings where I had them finishing 11, 12, and people told me I'm crazy. They also said I'm crazy for putting the Clippers in the 6th, 7th position, and we saw how that worked out. People have a tendency to have very recency bias, which is, hey, that player was injured, they didn't, but that roster is just a terrible fit. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis. I mean, what are we doing? Just rebuild, tear down, rebuild. And now they're trying to trade Malik Monk and Devin Carter as well. So moving on to the 12th spot here. This is where it gets challenging because there's a handful of teams I could put in the spot here. You know what? I'm trying to think of who the Phoenix Suns center is. They obviously got rid of DeAndre Ayton. I can't recall. I know they drafted Kaman Malawach, but he's a rookie. You know what? I'm going to put the Phoenix Suns there. They could finish a few spots higher, but I mean the roster is just not great. Let's be honest. KD definitely didn't help them win the championship, but he definitely added to a lot of regular season wins as well. So I'm very interested to see what that roster looks like with Devin Booker there, but I don't anticipate much from them. 11th spot here. I'm going to put the Portland Trailblazers. Trailblazers could very well make the play-in at the 9th, 10th position. Would not surprise me. They got such a beautiful roster, and I love what they're doing there with Drew Holiday. It's just going to add to their addition to some of the good defensive players they have there. I love that roster. I really like Denny Avdia as well. He's such a good player just overall. And hopefully we see a jump from, Scoot Henderson, although I'm not holding my breath. I don't anticipate it, but you never say never. And someone I have always liked on this channel for the Portland Trailblazers, keep an eye out for this guy, Rayan Rupert. Now, he may not get a lot of minutes because of the position he plays, but hopefully he does because he's going to have a heck of a season. And when and if he is able to display and get a lot of playing time here. All right, moving on to the 10th spot here. Who do I put here? You know what? I'm going to go with the Grizzlies. I didn't like the offseason moves. They didn't really do much. They got rid of Desmond Bane. Yes, they got 4 first-round picks, which is hard to turn down. But that roster's, again, somewhat similar to the Pelicans. Is such a mess. Ja Morant's consistently injured or having off-court issues. Jaren Jackson Jr., I believe he got injured. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't he missing like the first 5 or 6 months, or is he out for the year? Let me know in the comment section, but I just don't like the roster. It's a mess. Memphis Grizzlies finishing 10th. They could even finish lower. It would not shock me one bit here. Oh, see, like, how do I justify putting any other team here, man? Like at the 9th spot, look at all the teams we have remaining, and mm, Yeah, this is not easy, man. This is not easy. Like you got teams here that should be finishing top five, top six, and then I got to put them at the ninth spot. This is such a challenging conference to predict, and I, you know what, people are not gonna like this. I'm gonna put San Antonio here, guys. I need to see it on paper. I need to see Wemby and Fox together. That they're going to be a nice duo. At least they are in NBA 2K. But I want to see it in. I want to see it on the court, man. And just with health concerns, obviously with Wemby as well. He is recovered. He should be playing. But never say never. I do want to see that team first, so I will say that. Eighth spot here. It almost feels like I have to put. This is so hard. I have to put the Warriors here for the simple fact that Jimmy's gonna load manage, Draymond's gonna load manage whatever he does, and then Steph Curry's obviously gonna load manage as well. Just for that one simple reason, and one simple reason only, I'm gonna put the Warriors here. They could be a lot higher. Would not shock me one bit here. All right, moving on here. This does not get easy. You know what? I'm gonna put the Clippers here, guys. Clippers could very well finish higher. Would not shock me one bit. But you know what? I think they're gonna finish here. That's all I'll leave it. I was one of the few that predicted the Clippers who finished 6-7 last season. A lot of people told me I'm crazy in the comment section, but I got them finishing here. I'm actually gonna put the Dallas Mavericks next. I totally forgot about this team here. Dallas Mavericks are a nice team. They got a lot of front court depth. It's just absolutely insane. Obviously, AD is injury prone, yes, but they got Derek Lively, they got PJ Washington, obviously Cooper Flag. Are they going to play him at the three? There's some chatter about that. I'm forgetting a few names here. I'm trying to recall here. I'm just the names aren't coming, but you guys know who I'm talking about here. They got about like 4 or 5 guys they could play at the power forward or center position. So they got a lot of depth. Obviously, Kyrie is going to be coming back from injury, but just that front court depth is going to help them win a lot of games in particularly the Western Conference. Like when you look at the teams here, they got so much size. Minnesota, you look at someone like even Houston, Denver, obviously. So having that front court depth really helps them overall. Moving on to the fifth spot here, you almost have to put the Minnesota Timberwolves here. Yeah, I'm gonna put the Minnesota Timberwolves here just because I like a few teams ahead of them, and I'll. This is nothing against Minnesota. It's more so the teams ahead of them, which I really like. But you know what, Timberwolves they're gonna cruise through the regular season and do their thing in the playoffs as they always do. They're a very very tough team to face. Fourth spot here. I have to put the Lakers here. Yeah, LeBron's old, but they got Luca, man. And honestly, you got like two guys that can score, rebound, pass. What more do you need? And Luca should have a great season considering, he's actually put in a lot of work into staying healthy. So I do like Los Angeles, and I think their overall roster looks a little bit better, particularly with that center position, DeAndre Ayton. I feel like they made, oh, Marcus Smart is also a great addition. That's who else we're getting, a great defensive addition to them. Next, this is where it gets challenging because Houston, Denver, it's easy to just pencil in OKC, guys. Uh, hmm. You know what? I'm gonna have to put the Nuggets here. I love what the Nuggets did. First of all, trading MPG, MP, Michael Porter Jr., MJP, Michael Porter Jr., MPG, PG, PJ. Sorry, MPJ. Sorry, guys. It's almost 8 o'clock. Been up since 4:30 a.m. But MPJ, they traded him for Cam Johnson here. Great addition, which gave them additional moves to trade for Bruce Brown or sign Bruce Brown, trade for Jonas Valanciunas. I absolutely love what they did. They should come back a lot stronger. Just having Cam Johnson instead of Michael Porter Jr., we'll just say his name, should be a welcome addition. But just having the extra players they added should be a welcome addition here. Oklahoma City Thunder are finishing second for the one fact that I don't think they're going to be focused on regular season wins. They're going to be resting a lot of their starters because the goal is to win another championship. The goal isn't to win a lot of games. So don't be surprised if they start load managing a lot of their starters. Oh, Houston Rockets, just a very, very nice offseason. Kevin Durant was the missing piece there. It would not surprise me if they make the Western Conference Finals. I mean, again, being healthy, I don't anticipate they'll get past certain teams, but I also believe it's one of those things. It's all about matchups, man. Like if they face Denver, if somehow the standings are 4-5 and Denver and Houston face off in the first, I don't know. Denver might just take them out. So it's all about matchups, it's all about where you position yourself in the standings. But these are my standings. Let me know if you agree with them or not, and that will be it for today's video, guys. So thank you once again for watching. I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.